Hi, darling. Welcome back. Tell me why we need another Andrew Tate. Tell me why we need another African Andrew Tate. So, on today's video, darling, I will talk about this particular account that I have been seeing make the rounds on South African Twitter, especially being promoted by a lot of South African men. Throughout the years, I've been repeatedly trying to avoid this particular content, this red pill masculinity content, especially the type of message that this particular individual promotes. I'm gonna say this carefully. I do not know this man. I do not know Shadiah Knight. So, in this video, I will not be questioning or denigrating him as an individual because I do not know him personally. I've never met him in real life. But I'm going to talk about his message, which resonates with a lot of South African men. And it worries me for this message to be so common and so resilient throughout the years in a context like South Africa. It is a very dangerous messaging, in my opinion, because if we think about just recently, let's talk about just recently what happened in South Africa. Recently, there has been an unfortunate case where a man murdered his girlfriend, Usibusiso Lawrence, and from the information, allegedly she cheated and there were other issues in the relationship that caused this unfortunate story. We also have the example of Cyan Bougie. Cyan Bougie is a very popular social media influencer who recently also, from what I see online, was attacked by her boyfriend, and that's what the information says. So, in a context like South Africa, where GBV is a thing, where femicide is a thing, I am deeply worried that this type of messages are still very much pertinent. But before I add my point of view, I want us to quickly look at Mr. Shadiah Knight, and then I will add a brief breakdown of why I find this messaging problematic. Okay, darling?
It was very much there and says,
Yes.
You know what, Mama, whatever you call her, Mom,
Yes.
I want to marry Rongano.
Yes.
Right? I've dated her for the last 5 years.
Yes.
She's a good woman.
Yes.
And your mother says no.
Yes. Valid point. It takes a snake to know another snake. That's how it is. Being married to a woman is like living with a snake. You just have to know how to charm it. I'm being honest with you.
You will never meet an 18-year-old who's saying she wants a stable guy.
A stable guy.
A stable
Well,
guy.
they still want to experience
They still
stuff.
want to experience
Makes
stuff.
sense, man. Yeah.
It's only after now when they're past 25, now approaching their 30s, that's when they start saying, I want a man who's stable, who wants, to settle
Married,
down, this and
yeah.
that. Yes, because they are washed up.
They're done.
Yes, they're done.
They've seen it all.
Yes. That's when they tend to
And that's
change.
the word that was born.
So, what is red pill or manosphere content? So, manosphere content in the beginning initially was about promoting masculinity, masculine ideals, promoting men developing themselves into better versions of themselves. And it was also about just men improving themselves physically, emotionally, and mentally. It served as a space for men to voice out their grievances, to voice out their own issues. And I have to admit, in the beginning, I did watch some of the content because I found it very refreshing to finally hear the point of view from men and what the issues they have when it comes to dating, when it comes to life in general, it was so interesting to see a space where men were coming in droves and expressing their issues. But something happened. Something happened. There's a point where the message shifted from being about brotherhood, about masculinity, healthy masculinity, growth mindset, building money, building a legacy. It turned into something different. And that is a constant generalization or negative outlook and critique of women, and using the most extreme cases of women to make arguments about women's nature. Why do I have an issue with this? My first issue is, if you are going to promote this type of messaging, what is the end goal? What is the end goal of constantly putting men in a constant negative headspace where you are essentially creating fear? It's the same tactic, it's fear. They use some of the most extreme cases, and I have to say this, in the world, there are toxic men and there are also toxic women. But in this red pill environment, they're ignoring all the healthy attributes and they're focusing on the most polarizing or the most toxic examples of women. There are women who are not healthy, but there's also men who are not healthy. But to use them as a reflection of everyone is extremely immature. It's extremely narrow-minded. It's extremely just, I'm trying to find the word, but you could tell that someone didn't think through their ideas when they just have a general overview and they think that is the reality. They have this narrow view of women because they see toxic women and they focus on toxic women. The algorithms that they are in are promoting toxic women. My first issue with this particular message or these messages that are promoted online is the fact that they use the most extreme cases as a general overview or as if they are fact. You use the most toxic individuals. You basically use the most toxic women that exist on the social space, in social media platforms, using those toxic women as an indicator of every single woman in the country. I worry when people do that, because the same thing that men complain about, some men complain about, they're like, why is it that when things like men are trash are said, you'll find a few men who will comment. They're like, why do you guys say men are trash? Like, just say some men are trash or something of that nature. It is the same thing where you generalize an entire group because of few bad apples. And my worry is that some people genuinely believe that this information is accurate, that this information is the reality of dating women. I am concerned. I am concerned because social media has made me aware that not every single person online is a critical thinker. And some people see that type of messaging and consume it as fact. They see it as an expert opinion, and they don't critically engage with other alternatives. The second issue is, do we not see similar tactics in this manosphere African or South African manosphere content, do we not see similar tactics to the racism that happened during apartheid? Do we not see the same divide and conquer mentality, whereby the first thing is you are portraying women as enemies to men, as if all women are just these villains that are out to get men, that are manipulative, that are gold diggers. You are creating the same type of structure that was done a few years ago. Like, let's be honest, 1994 was 30 years ago. The same type of structure was used when it came to Black people, where it was said Black people are violent, Black people need to be led, Black people cannot rule, Black people are these less or inferior. You are doing the exact same tactic to describe a group, an entire group of people, using generalizations and stereotypes. The second thing is, I don't know if it's the second or the third, you can confirm, but the other issue that I have is you are doing the exact same thing of commodifying people. Because remember, even during apartheid and during slavery, Black people were seen as a commodity. And I know someone's going to be like, you are too woke, it's not that deep. But for me, it is that deep. In South Africa, we have to be very careful about the information we consume online. So, Black people were seen as commodities. In this red pill space, the same thing is happening, whereby women are seen as commodities to consume. Oh, if she's over 25, she's basically ran through, she shouldn't, she's lost her value. That's why women need to get married, because they lose their value as they age. They need to get married young. They need to basically be controlled, otherwise they'll be unhinged and out of control. There's so many things whereby, oh, if a woman already has a kid, she is basically almost, for the lack of better language, she's used up, she's used goods. You are basically using the same type of structure of discrimination that was used during apartheid, because Black people were a commodity and we didn't have rights. We literally could be interchangeable. Like, oh, you got injured, let's get another Black person to work in the mines. Let's get another slave to basically function, to create our wealth, to create the country, to work for minimum labor. It is the same thing. And for me, why am I making this video? I'm making this video because the more we promote these extreme realities, because for me, these are extreme cases, and I am aware, listen, I know that there are women who promote very extremely negative outlooks of men. Yes, this video is not about them. In this case, I'm talking about the men who are creating these extremist views of women, these generalized basically views of women. And I can tell you this, unhealthy people, broken people exist everywhere. There are men who are broken, there are women who are broken, but also there are women who are healthy, there are men who are healthy. There's individuals in the world who are not these toxic things that you are promoting online. They are not these enemies. And my worry is, do you really want to build a relationship based on the fact that you are fearful you are fearful of when this person will betray you, because reality is human beings are not perfect, but it doesn't mean that every single person is going to be this extremely toxic person. Editing Wendy here. I forgot to mention as well that one of the reasons why I think that this red pill content is so popular, why this promotion of negativity is so popular, is because it puts these individuals who consume that content in a constant negative headspace. So basically, another issue is that you create a problem, but then also you position yourself as a savior who is willing to give them tips on how to align with the brand, how to be a masculine man, how to be a high value man. And it's no surprise that it's also a marketing scheme. It's also a way for this particular individual to market his brand, to market his merch. It's by constantly promoting negativity and then promoting a solution to that negativity. So creating a problem, but also creating a solution, and say, if you want to align and be a confident, high value man, this is what you need to do. Buy a suit, buy this product, buy this. It's very much similar to the Red Pill content whereby they sell courses. This type of message that is promoted worries me because it puts men in a constant fear. You will constantly be fearful, looking for the negativity, looking for the women who are negative. You will focus more, your energy is focused more on the extreme cases, the extreme horrible cases, forgetting that the world doesn't function like that. There's bad people in the world, but there's also good people in the world. And if you focus mainly, or if your experiences have only been bad with women, it makes me question if you even are a victim, or you are basically choosing or perpetrating these issues. You seem to be the common denominator. And basically what I'm seeing happening online, I know that the manosphere thing is a response to a bit of toxic femininity. It is a response to certain issues. But we are basically doing this thing where we are exchanging who is the bigger victim, who is more of a victim, and that is not constructive. The best way, there's a bigger issue at hand, and the best way that I feel could work is if we find a way to dismantle some of the structures that control both men and women and other marginalized groups. So darling, before I end the video, let me play a light-hearted video.
Now that the whole Red Pill Manosphere thing is phasing away, let me repeat what I said 2 years ago.
Yes.
Didn't it cross people's minds to realize that this does not work when they could have just seen that those men who are always preaching those messages, how come they never seem to get those classy traditional women that they always talk about?
Yeah, it's true.
Physician, heal thyself.
Formula with no result.
Mr. High Value, why are they not finding you?
Ask them.
Let me guess, you don't want to be found.
Premium copium.
Or it means that you're pursuing those classy women and you're getting rejected. Or it means you're pursuing those classy women, but then they are not looking for you.
You're allowed though.
But their ego will never let them admit that.
Ever.
So they rather generalize a specific type of woman that has certain bad traits and then say that's all of them.
Easier for them.
Or you are not approaching those women, which contradicts everything everything that you guys preach.
Wow. No shame. Shame.
And then they'll go and call people simp for treating women like human beings. 2 years ago, I said the term value is subjective.
Yes.
It's not just about money or height.
6 figure fool.
The fact that their definition of leadership is almost tyrannical. And they thought that would get them the woman they're looking for. Because it is easier for them to call people simp for treating their relationship like a partnership than to change bad behavior. The world doesn't work in two extremes. Because their comeback is always, so you just gonna let a woman walk over you? No, you don't understand the partnership, which is why you're living in your dead
universe.
I'm glad it's over. I hope they'll receive sense now.
Glory.
All the best.
Before I end this video, there's a quote that I love from Martin Luther King Jr. It reads, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." So, my question is to some of these red pill men, because I know it's not everyone who believes in this toxic extremist idea. Are you willing to use hate or be a victim to drive out the issues in society? Because in reality, most people are just trying to find love or belonging. Are you going to use the negative experiences that you have to be like a defining feature for the rest of your life? If your goal is to be married and be in partnership, we need to rethink some of the things we are consuming blindly and do not follow generalizations. I like people who are willing to look at all the available information and not just follow one ideology that seems to be reflective of just another hateful group hating another group. So be more open-minded. Think about other perspectives. And I feel the best way for this, if you want dating advice, this is just a little nugget. Look for dating advice from both men and women and see the different perspective, what you can get from each side. But darling, let me know how you feel about this video. It was a bit of a heavy topic for me, and let me know. Put a book emoji in the comment section if you watched the video till the end, and thank you, darling.